Hey, Branson? Branson?
Huh? What? Oh, it's the Red Skull.
No.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's just me. The Dallas gave me some Tonys. I'm allergic. Do you have any Benadryl?
John, is that you?
I need Benadryl.
John, you're the Red Skull.
No, I'm having an allergic reaction.
I have a monitor in my ankle. You're a supervillain. You can take it out.
No, I need Benadryl.
You need Benadryl? Is that like your supervillain henchman?
Benadryl.
Is he here?
It's like a pill.
I won't tell you. I won't tell Captain America where you are. I promise. Just help me with this tracker.
It's pink.
I tried to get away. They brought me back. I need your help.
An antihistamine, perhaps.
His what?
I need an antihistamine.
Wait, you're not the Red Skull. You just got a puffy red face.
That's why I said I need Benadryl.
Okay, hang on. I've got some in the drawers here somewhere. Hang on.
Prepare yourself to discover a world of terrible movies. High above the planet Geekery, a group of intrepid explorers hover over the dangerous planet in their fabulous super-orbital spacecraft. Their mission? To conduct a complete analysis of movies known throughout the universe as terrible. So grab your space popcorn, grab your freeze-dried ice cream, and join us for today's mission of discovery and wonder. Are these movies better than the galaxy thinks? Or do they really belong on the bottom shelf?
Hello and welcome to The Bottom Shelf, the show where we watch critically terrible films so that you don't have to. Bottom Shelf is an extension of Geek Devotions, the show from Devoted Geeks, who are devoted to letting you know that you're loved. I'm Dallas, and I'm so glad you hit play today. Just to let you know, if you don't watch past this moment, if you don't listen past this podcast moment right here, right now, know this, we love you. We care about you. Everyone here at The Bottom Shelf loves you, especially one of my favorite co-hosts, Kevin. Kevin, don't you love people?
No.
Kevin loves you. Everyone. Legitimately, Kevin, he has a hard exterior, but he's like a Cadbury egg. Hard on the outside, but gooey on the inside, soft and squishy.
He loves you so much, he'll be honest about how much he doesn't love you.
That sounds very mechanically processed, just like part of my brain.
So we also have joining us Branson Boykin.
Hello.
Branson, how you doing all right, bud?
Doing great.
Good. Are you soft and gooey on the inside too? Like Kevin?
Yes, I am. I'm like a Cadbury cream egg.
Yep.
I'm sweet and gooey.
Both of you guys are hairy too. Like, I'm somewhat jealous of your two beards. Like, because you guys are like beard bros. Yeah. And then like John's over here with like this epic like rocker goatee going on. John, how are you?
We're in the same room.
we're all on the same spaceship. Keep with the script.
I mean,
John's face looks like a melted Cadbury egg.
Oh my gosh.
Why all the hate, Kevin?
That's terrible.
That's okay, Kevin. I accept this from you because you know what? You're good enough. You're smart enough.
Don't start.
It. People like you.
Okay, Delilah.
Delilah, love someone tonight.
Welcome to John Tesh Radio.
Oh my gosh. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you for some reason have been dropped this podcast, you have no idea what's happening. We review terrible movies. Kevin on the Planet Geekery found a dumpster or an intergalactic chamber hidden that has all kinds of fabulous films. Films.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
And Kevin, because of his job, he has to decide what is considered to be a good movie and not a good movie. We're going through this. We're helping him. The team and I, we've gathered here. We're surrounded him and helping him out. And we've cried nary a tear helping him. Branson did a little bit when we put a tracker in his ankle.
I was wondering why I had this pain in my foot. Now I understand.
It turned out he had he was on house arrest and we didn't know.
Wait, how long did it take you to notice? You don't wash your legs or something?
Well,
No, that's my job.
That got weird.
I was in the middle of washing my toes when y'all beamed me up. So, you know.
That's true. We did interrupt that process. So, but anyways, guys, we're going to jump into the conversation. Today, we have a new movie coming out of the trash bin. Mr. Burnham, Kevin, my Irish man, what is the treat that you have for us today?
Captain Marvel.
Oh,
I mean, no. Captain America: Winter Soldier. No, crap. Captain America 1990.
oh,
That's the one with Chris Evans, right? He used to be the Human Torch.
No, this one's a different one. This one was like.
Are you foreshadowing your rating?
Was this the evil Knievel
this
Captain
one
America?
stars Matt Salinger. You might remember him from Revenge of the Nerds because he is a nerd. So, yeah, that one.
Was he
1990.
in that? That's Captain America? Wow. Did not realize that for some reason. All right.
Yep. And it is directed by Michael Pun. I don't know. I don't speak Hawaiian, so.
Legitimately, Hawaiian Pidgin is an interesting language.
But you might remember him for films such as The Sword and the Sorcerer, Alien from L.A., Cyborg, Kickboxer 2, Kickboxer 4, Blood Match, and a music video featuring Ice-T. And that music video is called I Always Wanted to Be a Hoe. Yeah.
Wow.
Very broad range of work there.
It also stars a lanky nerd, Matt Salinger, which I mentioned earlier, a Jimmy Carter lookalike, Ronnie Cox, if he's not getting blown away by RoboCop. Has chubby Ned McBeady, Kim Gallingham, and Darren Mick, forgetting already his name. It's executive produced by Stanley and Stephen Token. The music is also done by Barry Goldberg. If you don't know what music he's done, he's only done movies for like 3.
Hey.
The most famous he's known for is Return of the Living Dead 3.
Can I ask a dumb question? Is this Tolkien, like, is he related to, like, the Tolkien?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
There's no E.
I am officially less excited about this film now. Please continue. Enlighten us.
That is what I have for the movie.
Oh, okay. Sweet. All right. So this is the film we're watching, Captain America. So here, let me grab this box from you, Kevin. What's there's warning
Here you
labels. Warning, your shield will randomly just fly off. Well, I hate when my shield just flies off.
Let's
It
see.
happens all the time here in Florida.
Let me take a look here. It's both worse than it should be and better.
Oh.
All right. Here, John. I'm going to throw this to you.
What were the expectations there?
I don't think they knew. Here, John. I'm going to throw this to you.
Ow! Why, dude?
In the eye.
Why'd you hit him in the face? You know he's already having a mark across it. Why'd make it more?
It was supposed to come back. It was supposed to come back.
The puffiness he can't see.
Oh no, it's getting better. I stole some steroids from Celeste's room.
Okay.
I choose you, Jigglypuff.
I wasn't expecting that.
Oh gosh.
All right. That's how it's going to be today. All right.
I
Warning.
know, I'm going to be slagging with you all night through. Who cares?
Okay. Warning, this movie ages like a fine milk.
Ooh.
That's me.
Oh, that stinks. Let me see this thing. Warning, it was from the 90s, a time when David Hasselhoff was Nick Fury. And we had a Fantastic Four movie that was finished but never got theater or home video. But it is mentioned on this video cassette tape.
Yeah. We had VHS, so I don't know what that means.
I remember David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury and saw just little pieces of it.
I thought those were screen tests.
No, it was like a made-for-TV movie.
For what?
I don't remember exactly. But
Okay, Fever
Yeah.
Dream movies, cool.
all right, let's see here. Warning, I'd take the Reb Brown TV movies over this iteration. Isn't that the evil Knievel Captain America?
With the clear shield?
Yeah, the plexiglass shield.
Yeah, because yeah. Okay, sweet.
Because Evil Knievel can make the jumps.
All right. So, what are our expectations going into this? John, you first, bud.
Okay, so it's not. I saw this movie back in around 1990, 1991 when it first came out on VHS.
Right.
I rented it from my local video shop because at the time, me and my friends were going through our air quotes comic book phase.
Yeah.
And they had that up there as well as the 1991 Flash movie.
Oh yeah.
And so I rented them both on the same night, and I watched them both on the same night, and I got really excited watching it as a youngster in 1991, at a youngster at the age of 9.
Oh wow.
So
Now you said Flash movie. Was that just the pilot episodes for the Flash series?
no, sir, this was a movie that was made in the 90s.
I'm gonna have to track this down. I don't recall one.
Oh,
Is this with John Wesley Shipp as the Flash?
dude, I don't know.
It was the 90s.
It was, bro. Okay, I was 9 at the time,
Gotcha.
and
on,
I
sir.
am definitely not 9 now.
I think the pilot was a made-for-TV movie, and then the series spun off of that.
Here's the thing though. That movie had nothing to do with the CW TV show.
No, we're not talking about. There
We're
was a
talking
90s
about
TV series.
There was a 90s TV series.
Oh,
It
for
had,
real?
it had
Yeah.
Mark Hamill as the
trickster.
the trickster. So okay,
Well, tell you what, set expectations. I'll come back to you with what year this Flash movie was.
okay.
Okay.
So Branson, what was your expectation?
First time I saw this movie, the only time I've seen this movie before watching it for this was I was staying the night at my uncle's house because my baby sister was coming into the world.
Oh,
So mom and dad were at the hospital, and me and my middle sister were staying the night over at his apartment. And he wanted to show us a movie before we went to bed, and he had this movie. And much like John was talking about, I was a young kid, so anything that had a masked superhero in it was cool.
right.
The only difference is I never grew out of that phase. I'm still there. But I remember enjoying it as a kid, but I didn't have high standards because it was a guy in a mask fighting supervillains.
It's a true story.
So I'm trying not to have a whole lot of expectations because going back and listening to some of our older episodes, reflecting on my rating of Venom, I really feel like I didn't give that movie a fair shake because I was so emotionally invested in Spider-Man. So I am trying my best to set aside what I know about Captain America and see if I can enjoy the movie for what it is
Right.
instead of
That's a very mature way to go about it, sir.
That's nice.
You guys were correct. That was it was apparently the pilot for the TV show.
Nice.
It was released as a movie
I respect that. That's cool.
in 1990.
Dig it. So, fun fact with the CW, he returns as what was the original Flash's name?
John Wesley Shipp.
John Wesley Shipp. No, like the character.
Oh, at first he was Barry Allen's dad,
Right.
and then he
In
comes
the
back.
comics. The first Flash that had the
Jay Garrick.
Yeah. So the guy, your Flash, he was Jay Garrick in the CW series, and Hamill makes an appearance as the trickster.
Yes.
All right, Kevin, what is your expectation of the film?
I guess the same as it was when I watched it, rented it from a video store. I just thought it was lame, dumb, and boring.
All right. Well,
Welcome to this episode of Kevin Hates Everything.
No, I'm just saying the movie I thought was lame, dumb, and boring. I had Batman. Who the frick cares about Captain America when you have Batman and Batman Returns?
this is a true story. Did you ever get your final rating of what your expectations are going into it? You started the story, but you
I
never
started the
finished
story. I'm expecting to like it. I don't remember a whole lot about it, to be perfectly honest. I just remember that I seen it.
it. Right.
So, I think I'll like it.
Sweet.
Just remembering how I liked it last time.
Right. I get that. So for me, I remember watching it on TV as a kid. And I remember years later purposely renting it from Hollywood Video, the magical place that Kevin and I miss dearly. And
You said Hastings wrong.
I miss Hastings too. But I got it, and I remember being confused because I was getting the 70s TV series mixed up with this one. There were scenes combining for me. So I was very confused for a little bit. My expectations going into this, though, is I know it's not a great movie.
It wouldn't be here if it was.
Right. I know that it's not good necessarily. I have nostalgic feelings for it of going, this is my childhood. This is one of the first, I would say, purely superhero movies that I've seen. Like at the time frame, like when I watched this, I also watched stuff like Meteor Man.
Right.
And Blank Man.
Oh, yes, Meteor Man.
You know what I'm talking about. Meteor Man's lit.
So like superhero
Blank
parodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like this and Batman, although I feel like from my memories, Batman had a much higher quality than this. So I'm going into this going, this will be a fun trip down memory lane. I don't have high hopes for it. So, all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen.
So I guess we get to choose between, do we want to watch a man in black latex or we watch a man in red, white, and blue latex suits?
I mean, black is always slimming.
Yeah.
True that. True that.
All right.
That's why I suck in my gut more.
That's what we just, Kevin, you don't need to lose 80 pounds. You just need to wear more black latex.
Yeah, that'll make me lose weight fast. Look at me walking around this walking sauna
in Florida.
It won't take me long before a cop sees me. He's like, yeah, we're going to arrest you, sir.
You're in Florida. This is a Tuesday for them.
I feel a light breeze. I'm burnt. I'm getting cold.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to the theater. Do me a favor. If you haven't watched the movie yet and you guys are listening to this, tweet at us, or not tweet at us, send us a message on Instagram or Facebook. Let us know what your expectations are of the film, and then listen to the rest of this podcast and whatnot. So, guys, let's go. Let's go eat some popcorn and watch the film.
When Captain America throws his mighty shield.
Dear listeners, this is your opportunity to escape. Our crew has just entered into the media projection chamber. What horrors and madness that they consume are unknown. Their mental state upon their return is unknown. You have been warned.
Well, that was a fun-filled film, guys.
Whoever said it ages like a fine milk was correct.
It wasn't that bad.
Oh, come on, man. So,
Come on.
all right. For those of you wondering, let me read the back of the box that Kevin has for us. It says, frozen in the ice for decades, Captain America is free to battle against the arch criminal, the Red Skull. And that's what the back of the box says. So
What box are you reading from? I didn't send you that.
it's not the one you sent me.
Here, let me give it.
Back at the VHS. Here, I'll read it for you.
Okay, fine.
From the pages of Marvel Comics, Captain America takes to the screen in an explosive attempt to destroy his nemesis, Red Skull, starring Ronnie Cox, Ned Beatty, Darren McGavin, Melinda Dillon, and Matt Salinger. Captain America is a high-flying adventure for children of all ages. The superhuman secret weapon designed during World War II, Captain America is faster, stronger, and smarter than any man alive, except for the Nazi counterpart, the hideously scarred Red Skull. After fighting through a standoff during World War II, Captain America is catapulted to the Alaskan tundra. Thank you. Where he lies frozen for 50 years. Red Skull, meanwhile, has continued his evil ways, masterminding the assassinations of John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King Jr. What the crap? His latest plan is to transplant his own immoral brain to the current president, but Captain America thaws just in time for one final pulse-pounding duel that determines the fate of the planet.
Wow, the back of that box really just tells you the entire movie. What's the point of watching it? It's the 90s. They figure, yeah, you're not going to watch the movie.
Yeah, you just want to read it for what it is and then forget about it when you go to sleep.
Might as well just read the book.
And that was at that point where Captain America got launched on a rocket up someone's ice hole.
All right. So let's get into the spoiler-free discussion. What did we not like about the film, boys?
Okay, let's just skip over my segment.
Oh, what's your segment?
What? Good night, kids. I apparently got fired.
My show notes are all tore up, so it's discouraging. Please do your
Such
segment.
a jerk, dude. Oh, yeah, you have a part here. So for the trivia.
The trivia portion.
This
Go
movie.
ahead, Battlefield Earth.
Hey, you know what? I don't want to hear it from you. All right. You didn't even like Mars Attacks, and that's just wrong.
That is
That
wrong.
movie still sucks.
We're still praying for you, Kevin. So,
Anyway,
and we're still praying for John for Battlefield Earth.
so this movie, it was budgeted for approximately $3 million in 1990 money.
Why? What?
Like,
That had to have gone to the location. That's the only reason I can think.
let me pull up. Let me adjust this for inflation here real quick, so you guys can understand how incongruous that is with what we just watched.
This is $3 million.
in 1990.
1990. That's gonna
They
be.
must have actually bought a real rocket to put in there. That's the most realistic thing on here.
I don't know. It might have been the Dakota ring.
The Captain Midnight Dakota ring. Yeah. Or
Yeah, they recovered his polio. That's why he stopped limping.
the castle was.
They actually bought polio to give Captain America at the beginning of the movie.
Being realistic right there.
Maybe latex
Yeah.
was at a really high price in 1980.
And
It was
they must
new?
have said, "Hey, how much it cost for those GQ models over there? It costs this much. Okay, let's hire all the models. All the models."
Like for $3 million, like I feel like I don't want to get. I feel like we're giving away our ratings for the film by going into this conversation. But let's just say $3 million. I feel like we could have done a little better.
That could have been better spent.
A little
than what it
better.
was spent on.
What other movies came out in 1990 at
That's
this
a lot
time?
of Big Macs.
That's a lot of Big Macs. Let's hear. What movies came out?
Okay, so $3 million in 1990 is equivalent to about $6,512,226 today.
Golly.
Wow.
Which, granted,
Now, are we talking about like fuel prices from then to here now, or
what? Anyway, granted, that's that's a $6 million movie isn't still the standard for what you would expect for an MCU,
Right.
but like you could have made a decent Fantastic Four movie with $6 million.
Yeah.
So I don't understand where the money went.
Well, okay. I did some googly, and to be fair, that's how much it made. I was trying to find how much. I'm trying to figure out how much it costs to make Back to the Future 3.
majority of this film was filmed in Italy, wasn't it?
I think so.
Did it cost that much to like rent an airplane to have all their equipment moved over there from Hollywood, California?
I mean, that's it's the whole budget for the movie. So whatever was spent to make this movie would have been included into that budget.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So no, that cannot be the budget. Apparently it is. According to what I'm looking up here, the budget for Back to the Future 3, for context, this was $3 million for this movie.
Right? Yes.
Back to the Future 3, which I feel like we all agree, without giving our spoilers away, that was a superior film. $40 million.
Okay, but I mean, that's not apples and oranges, though.
Yeah.
But it explains the quality differences. $3 million versus $40 million. The amount of money that was put.
Wait. You're saying Back to the Future 3 is a good movie?
I'm saying it's like more quality film.
It was better visuals.
Yep. All right. So,
All right. So, but back to the
trivia.
Back to the trivia. In an interview with the publication Retro Junk, co-star Ronnie Cox said this movie Remains to this day the finest script he had ever read, and how those guys messed up the film, I will never know.
Wow.
Wow. So we didn't see the original director's vision.
I guess not.
Dang. I want a director's cut now.
Dolph Lundgren and Arnold Schwarzenegger were both up for the role of Captain America. Schwarzenegger's accent lost him the role, and Lundgren was too busy filming The Punisher.
That makes sense with Schwarzenegger. Like that.
Yeah.
He'd be like,
So the accent worked for one film, but not the other.
I'm Captain America. It's like, you work for the other side. You want to try Red Skull?
I am here to throw shield. Go America.
I'm going to crush you.
Val Kilmer was also considered for the title role, but he declined in favor of his role as Jim Morrison in The Doors, which was released in
Good choice.
1991.
That's probably a good move for him.
This film was released theatrically internationally in 1990, but was direct-to-video in the U.S. It had a limited U.S. theatrical release in July of 2011 to promote Captain America: The First Avenger. And then Albert Pune toured the country with his director's cut.
Wow. Oh, there is a director's
apparently
cut.
there's a director's cut.
Oh, I must find this.
I would be intrigued to find that myself.
What else
there
you
it
want to
is. Ned Beatty's son, Thomas Beatty, actually plays the younger version of his character at the beginning of this movie.
I actually like that a lot. I respect that.
That's really cool.
Cool. So they both had diabetes.
Kevin.
Oh. There it is.
And finally, this is the last one I wanted to bring to light, was Captain America's costume was made by the same costume company that made Batman, that made the costumes for Batman in Batman 89 as well as Batman Returns.
I'm kind of angry about that fact. Like, I feel like they phoned it in. I'm not a Captain America, like, yeah, but I feel like they phoned in that costume because Bats was a far superior, even with the like the Nikes that had basically a cover to make boots.
Yeah. Well, there's probably a difference in directors involved and things like that. I imagine Tim Burton had a very specific idea of what he wanted.
Well, what was the different budget? Like if we were to pull up the budget for Batman 89,
Right?
because they were both probably filmed at the same time.
That's true.
That's true, yeah.
So let me pull up the budget on that real quick.
Welcome to the episode where we talk budget.
We're talking. Welcome to the fiscal shelf.
Hey, if it takes you a long time to go to the bathroom, it took Matt Salinger and his crew 30 minutes to take his costume off and on where he had to go for a bathroom break.
Right.
If it takes me 30 minutes to go to the bathroom, there's something wrong. Send for help.
All right, so the budget for Batman was $35 million.
Okay,
So 10 times as much.
I was about to say, because it may have been made by the same company, but the fact of the matter is, if you kind of look at the bat suit versus Captain America, bat suit versus cap suit, the bat suit was thicker. Like, it looked like they just made Captain America's suit out of a balloon.
Yeah. The Captain America suit looked like cosplay. Like I would expect to see that at a Comic-Con.
It looked like good cosplay.
Good cosplay,
Solid
but
cosplay.
cosplay nonetheless.
Yeah,
And when you're watching a movie, you kind of don't want to see cosplay,
right.
you know.
All right. Well,
All right, now let's get into the spoiler-free discussion.
yeah, I apologize. So what's in spoiler free? What did we enjoy about the film, gentlemen? Something spoiler free. I want to start off. While I'm complaining about the costume, I appreciate the costume because, like we said, it feels like a cosplay. Like it feels like 90s Captain America in the comics, and
Yeah.
I appreciated that. It was awkward at times when he around the corner, the wings kind of like move as he turns. That was kind of funny.
They were flapping to help him go faster.
Da-da-da.
Like Namor's wings on his feet that help him fly.
Yeah.
No, I agree with what you're saying. It was very, very comics accurate, which is more than what could be said for a lot of costumes, even costumes for movies that come out today. I mean, attention was made. They wanted to make it look like Jack Kirby's drawing leapt off the page. And I find it interesting that it was a comics accurate costume, but still looked hokey. And I find that interesting because I've seen conversations between comics makers, and there was a little cartoon blurb. I couldn't find it, but it basically makes the point that stuff that looks good in comics doesn't always translate well to the screen. And the example they gave was the original illustrations of Batman from Bill Finger and Bob Kane, who signed his name, but that's a conversation for a different story. But the original designs of Batman, and then the Batman costume from the serials that was based off of that design, and the costume of the serials, it doesn't look that menacing.
Right.
I mean, even his ears are kind of
They're
floppy,
kind of floppy, yeah.
you know, but it was a cloth version of what was in the comics. And in the comics, it looked menacing. He looked scary.
Right.
And so I think that when directors take a comic book and translate it to screen, there has to be an accounting for translating from the comic book to screen. You've got to let go of this idea that I'm going to take it off the page and put it on screen, because you're changing mediums.
Yeah.
And when you change mediums, that changes the way things look. Captain America's suit looks awesome in the comics, but if you try to translate that directly to screen, it doesn't come off the same. That's why I liked what they did with the MCU cap and made it more like a armor type thing.
Yeah.
You know, where it had straps instead of just random stripes, you know,
Right.
that kind of thing. So I agree with you. It was definitely a comics accurate look, and I think that's why it looks so hokey, is because there wasn't an accounting for
Right.
how it would look on screen.
I gave you that. So, John, what's something you enjoyed about the film?
Okay, I have a feeling I'm going to stand alone in my laurels on this one,
Okay.
but I liked the guy who played Red Skull.
I didn't mind him.
I think of all the people who were acting in this movie, he did the best job of actually acting. You know, did not care for Dollar Store Meg Ryan at all. Did not really even care for, you said his name was Matt Salinger, Kevin? Kevin shakes his head, yes.
Sorry, it was yes, that was Matt Salinger.
Yeah, I didn't care for him as Captain America. He didn't translate to me at all as being super smart. You know, he was dopey. He was dopey throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
And you know, especially when Ned Beatty showed up and was just like, "Hey, you know, I'm here to rescue you. The U.S. is in trouble." And he's like, "Oh, you're a Nazi spy."
That may be getting to spoil. I have thoughts about that scene because I want to talk about that.
All right. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have dipped into that. That specific.
He looked at him like, "What?"
All right.
So, but yeah, the guy, the cat who played Red Skull, I liked him, and Dallas will affirm. Like, I was like, I feel like I've seen this guy somewhere.
Yeah.
The whole entire time through the movie, and you know, I you know, there was things that I was picturing him like, this guy would work really good in a role in a vampire movie.
And come to find out, he did.
Well, yeah, but that was before this movie. It's just like when we looked at the IMDb after the fact, he hasn't really done a whole lot since this movie. And it's sad because I thought he was great. He played the menacing bad guy very well.
I agree.
I only thing I had an issue with him was the costume. I didn't think the face, like, it's supposed to be a skull, and it like we were joking with your allergy issues, it just looked poofy.
Yeah.
And but the acting, especially in the latter half of the film, because they got rid of those certain costume aspects, I thought were solid, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. Kevin, what's something you enjoyed, bro?
I actually enjoy what John just said on the villain, because I thought the villain was probably the best actor in this film. Everyone else was just everyone else. That I did not like the costume for Red Skull. It just looked like someone just melted red crayons over his face. And like, here you go.
I thought the rat.
I did not.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh wait, I'm supposed to be telling you things I do like, not don't like. Well, I don't care. I'll just tell you things I don't like anyways. I
Welcome.
didn't like the Captain America costume.
Right.
I felt I just felt like he probably had Jocker's itch the entire time making this movie.
I bet you that suit reeked every time he took it off. At the end of the day,
sure.
Yeah, he's like, oh God, sorry everyone, I farted. I've been keeping it the past couple of hours. I was bubble back there.
I bet you dollars to donut when that guy passed gas on set, his suit would inflate.
I wonder if they like puncture, like put little air holes just for that issue.
They did that on day 2.
No, that would be terrible because you would hear it through the suit. It would just be like sort of like when you let go of the end of a balloon when it's inflated.
Well, what's worse about it, because I'm assuming the suit was not a one-piece suit, but if it was, like, when he said, because air had to get in there when you move around, when he sits down, that means when it comes up around his face.
Oh no! Dude, you just gave yourself a Dutch oven in that instance, bro.
Darn those Italian cookings.
It's the hot winds of change.
Is this burrito night?
Matt Salinger has claimed that he still has the suit with him. He just doesn't. The shield he can't find. I think he lost it somewhere.
Oh, that's sad.
He puts it on every other Tuesday night.
Not cosplay, into convention events and so forth.
Right.
I did enjoy some of the scenes, but it wasn't lingering enough for me to appreciate fully because there were certain places I know, like, this is a beautiful area, but the only problem is that when you have so many people watching you throughout the entire country, and every time you try to film, everyone will get on set and like, no, you can't be on here, move, go away, and so forth. So I can understand that, especially in a country like that, making films. But yeah, that's just very light of what I have to say.
Word.
Yeah, the scenery in this movie was fantastic, though.
It was.
When they took the time to look at it.
I just wish it was longer. Like they took the shots, just go a little bit longer. Like, you could film more in just 5 seconds. Keep it going a little bit more.
Right.
Like the scenery at the end when they're, well, no spoilers here, but the scenery.
Yes.
Yeah.
The scenery at the very end of this movie, it was beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Around the piano. I'll just put it like that.
Yeah.
Just like that was some breathtaking scenery. I wish the whole movie was up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was the scenery was really gorgeous. And again, I wish I knew I'd done the research to figure out where all they shot this was, because I feel like it was at the locations they said they were in, but and there's a balance there. I mean, there's always that challenge of, okay, how much do we linger on a shot and not? And earlier I was having a conversation with John, like it feels like a 90s TV movie, which we discovered was basically direct to video, and with a budget $3 million, that's 90s television.
Yeah.
Like part of me wonders, like, were they trying to make a pilot for a TV series with this?
That would make sense.
Honestly, and this, again, without giving my final rating, if this was a pilot for a TV series, well done. Absolutely. But because that explains the fast pace of certain things, that explains the timing of certain things. Television shows don't linger on shots.
Right.
Movies, when you have a beautiful scenery, you linger a little bit because it's better looking than some of your actors at times.
Yeah.
And so, and it's like what Kevin said. There are scenes that nothing really pops except for just a few short moments. And so, yeah, absolutely. You got something, John?
I do. While you were talking, I was looking up where this was shot.
Yeah.
Just because you were asking about it. It was actually shot. Of course, the spots in the U.S. were shot in the U.S., but the foreign shots, not in Italy.
Really?
Not in Italy. It was shot in the Kingdom of Yugoslavia.
Really?
So this is before this movie was shot before the split of Yugoslavia.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Fascinating.
Cool.
So did we discuss what Branson liked about this movie?
Not in detail. You said you liked the suit, but what else do you like?
Yeah. I liked. We talked about the suit already. I appreciate, and I'll get more into this in the spoiler section, but I liked the way Matt Salinger played the man out of time aspect of it.
Okay.
Especially one scene that I think we've kind of alluded to already. Like y'all, I did like the Red Skull's acting. I think someone said he was the best actor in the movie, and I agree. He was believably deranged. Like I really got I got the impression that he was really intelligent and really evil all at the same time.
Yeah.
As far as his face, I feel like the rat that they experimented on looked more like a skull than the Red Skull.
That rat was legitimately creeping me out.
Okay, so that red rat, did that give anybody some Ray Harryhausen feels at all when they showed that rat?
Bit, yeah.
It's like, when was the last time you've seen some decent stop motion animation in an actual movie?
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And I know that it's an archaic form of,
I mean, unless it's a Tim Burton film.
right, but I mean, it's just like I saw that and I'm like, that's fake, but that's really good fake. That's like I said, it gave me all kinds of Ray Harryhausen feels when I saw them pull the sheet off the top of that red rat, and it's just like
and the thing is, it's not like the technology didn't exist to make a decent skull mask, because Masters of the Universe had come out just a few years before. And
that was more than a few years, bro, but go ahead.
It's relative.
Was it like 87?
Yeah.
Okay, this was 90. That's only 3 years. That's a few, right?
Yes.
Shut up, dude.
But anyhow, Skeletor, the guy that played him, Frank Langella, played Skeletor, and the skull mask he had was really good. Like, he had a believable skull face.
Yeah.
So they were capable of making the technology was there to make a decent skull mask, and they just didn't. And I don't know if that was, again, going to the whole budget thing. We were talking about how, the same people that made Cap suit made Batman suit, but there was an obvious budget difference. Maybe that was something else. So I know it was possible to make a decent skull suit.
There was a lot of money that went into the Masters of the Universe movie.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a whole
Speaking of Dolph Lundgren.
yeah, but they had a whole competition for a kid to be on the set.
Piggy Kid,
Yeah, which ended up being a terrible idea for the movie.
Yeah.
The kid was there for that one scene. They got him out quickly because they realized how adult it was going to be.
Yeah.
But there was a lot more money behind that. And I think that one of the things that the complaints that we all have, I feel like, are monetarily based. There just
I
wasn't
bet
a
if they
budget.
waited one more year for Michael J. Fox for Doc Hollywood, who could have fixed that Red Skull.
What?
Doc Hollywood, Michael J. Fox, plastic surgeon, went over everyone says, yeah, this is not the bottom stuff anymore.
I'm so confused.
I'm sorry, I'm lost.
Oh my gosh. All right. So I feel like we've exhausted the spoiler free stuff and we're ready to jump into it.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, spoiler time.
Ladies and gentlemen, the spoiler section.
All right. We are in our spoiler section.
Yes.
And this is no holds bar. Keep it PG. I'm looking at you, Kevo. And
This movie's PG-13, so we're going there.
but we're getting into it, guys. Let's talk about some spoilers. Let's just jump into it. Starting right off the bat, we were introduced to our Captain America, and
So bad.
I'm more impressed with the fact that he looked weak at the beginning of the film than 10 minutes into the film when he became Captain America. I legitimately have no idea how they pulled that off other than having him maybe wear baggier clothes and then limping. Because and maybe flexing on the camera shots. Real practical. If that's the way they did it. Super practical and effective. But I appreciated that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it kind of harkens back to the old Superman comics where the way Superman plays Clark Kent is he hunches, he wears really baggy clothes to hide his physique.
Right.
And he completely changes his mannerisms.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. They kind of changed up the story to where he's not just a weakling, but he's got polio. So he limps everywhere he goes.
Right.
Like you said, baggier clothes. He kind of, walks kind of funny. And then when he becomes Captain America, he stands up straight. He wears tighter clothing. He, you can completely change the way a person looks. And what I appreciate is that, it's not CGI. As much as I love the MCU Cap, it's kind of obvious when you look at Chris Evans that he was CGI'd to look that skinny. He wasn't really that skinny.
Well, yeah. And here's the thing, though. This was a shot back in 1990. CGI, where it was a thing, it was incredibly expensive and not too believable.
Right.
The earliest I can remember CGI being used in cinema, especially in like superhero movies, was at the end of Batman 89 when Batman's holding the Joker over the ledge of that.
Oh yeah,
that green screen drop.
And if you actually pay attention to that background, you can actually see the frame shutter on the CGI animation of that for the like the spotlights that are up there.
Totally.
So CGI would not. That's the same reason why they had the stop motion effects for the Red Rat in the beginning instead of CGI. It's just it wouldn't have been cost effective and it wouldn't have been any more believable.
Right.
So
And stop motion for the Shield.
yeah. The Shield.
Did they do stop motion for the Shield?
Yes. It looked just like Earth versus the Flying Saucers, but this time it's a red,
When
white,
they
and
when
blue
they
shield.
threw the shield and it came back.
Every time it circled back, like the first time he throws the shield, he takes out a guard tower and it like loops back around.
Oh, I thought they did wire work with that to make it happen. Circa.
You gotta use
Plan
wires
9.
for stop motion.
I know, but I'm just saying. I thought it was like Plan 9 stuff, like pipe hands on the
Go check out that episode if you guys haven't.
episode 1, ladies and gentlemen.
I do want to rewind, and I apologize because right at the very, very beginning, we have the introduction of the Nazis, 1936, and the Nazis come in, they kidnap the kid, right? That scene set me up for
a better movie.
a better movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
Oh my God! Yes.
like it went off, and I'm going, oh my gosh, was this better than I thought it was? Like who directed that scene?
Can we have them for the rest of the movie?
Right? Because it was so good. Like, it was intense. It was impactful. Like, I didn't understand half what was being said because they had very limited subtitles. That was one of my complaints. But that was such a great scene. I think it captured the look and feel of it. It set us up for the ending to a degree, which I feel like they dropped the ball some on. It gave you the idea. It helped you understand these are the bad guys. Now, granted, this is 1990. So we're not too far removed from the actual events of World War II. So a lot of people have this in the back of their head. They know this stuff. This is real life. I feel like that it gave the Red Skull more sympathy because here's a kid ripped away from his family, which I think was in 1990 putting the sympathy card in there. I feel like was a big deal for a 1990 audience who. We're learning about World War II. You have, grandparents who lived through World War II, and they're like, stupid Nazis, which for good reason, stupid Nazis. But now we have sympathy about the victims of the Nazis who were forced to be with them.
I wonder if that's why they made the Red Skull Italian instead of German. Like they wanted that sympathetic villain thing, and they knew if they made him German, there would be zero sympathy.
Maybe, was Red Skull an Italian?
He was Italian.
Yes.
No, in the comics.
Yes.
No, in the comics he was German.
Was he?
Yeah.
I will say this. I was talking to a comic book writer today. Can anybody guess who?
Was it Stan Lee?
Yes, I know who.
I was talking to JS Earls today.
If he's talking to Stan Lee, that means he's up into some crazy stuff.
I was using a Ouija board.
His profile picture, he has horns. I don't know if you noticed that.
Dude, please don't point that out. But no, I was talking to JS Earls today, and he was telling me about it. He's now he got jumbled up thinking I was talking about the Chris Evans one, but the information still is good for this particular movie in that because of even up till recently, because of movie regulate. I'm sorry, I'm not up on my microphone and you're playing with my levels. I'll try that again. Because of movie regulations, even up to recently in European countries, specifically Germany, and because this movie was slated for an international release, if they wanted this movie to play in Germany, which has a big market share in international release, there can't be any references to Nazis in your movies.
Really?
You cannot have Nazism in your movie at all. And so
that makes sense. They went through a big thing of it was until the World Cup back in 2005. Nationalism, in a positive way, was a non-existent thing. World Cup in 2005, Germany rocking the soccer field or football field, tearing it up, and that was the first time commentators were saying that Germans were proud to be German.
Wow.
So, and so obviously make him Italian. And they went with Mussolini-led Italy instead of Hitler-led Nazi Germany. Now, this even translates to the modern Captain America, and that was the reason why in the modern Chris Evans Captain America, you saw no swastikas or Nazi paraphernalia. Instead,
it's all
everything
Hydra.
was all Hydra.
Right, that makes sense.
I'm just now putting these dots together.
So, that's the reason why he was Italian in this, and why he had an Italian accent instead of a German accent.
This makes so much sense. Thank you, JS, for informing us.
Yeah.
So we'll put JS's stuff in the show notes because of that now.
And I did ask him if I could cite him on that, and he said yes.
Oh, good.
Right, awesome.
Sweet. Cool. So, all right. So we have a lot happening at the front end of things. We also have the worst setup for a love story, in my opinion.
Oh, God.
Oh, your mom's taken? I guess you'll do.
Like, first of all, let's talk about mom.
No, wait. Are you talking about Steve Rogers' mom or Bernie?
Bernie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, burned it.
Because I actually like the scene between Steve Rogers and his mom.
Right.
That was very heartfelt. I thought that was great.
It felt very American.
Exactly. It felt American. I wanted to eat a piece of apple pie watching that scene. It was great. And then we get to the point and he says, wait, we can't do this without Bernie. And then it falls from that point. It's like, okay.
The color grade changes. It goes from being like maybe like midday to, oh, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, the dude's got polio. It's a long walk to the beach. Come on.
How far can you?
Come on, he hopped his way there. What else are you expecting to go faster?
As the guy in the room who is genuinely crippled, I can tell you, my dude would not have hobbled that far. All right,
They'd be like, "Sorry, we taking the picture now."
They made that sound like he like first off the we talked about this earlier. The time jumps, things did not add up of like how long it took from point A to point B, and then locations. We'll get into that in a hot minute, but. That whole scene, they're like, oh, we wanted to have this romantic sunset. Quick, let's just jump the clock 10 hours. I'm like, what is happening here?
But then it's back in the afternoon when they go back to the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, the relationship only lasted for 60 seconds.
Jeez Louise.
This was the inspiration for Gone in 60 Seconds.
See, for me, that's where the acting started to break down. I was with it.
It was at that point where the acting started breaking down.
Well, think about what you had seen up until that point. I mean, you saw young Red Skull being captured. You saw the professor lady. What was her name?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. The female Italian Abraham Erskine, betray her country and go back to the United States and all that. Up until that point, I was like, okay, you know what? This is better than I remembered. And then they do this whole, oh, I can't live without you. And I'm like, and there's the 90s cheese.
I'll wait for you.
Yeah.
Okay. If I've learned anything from this movie is when a girl says she'll wait for you, she's lying.
To be fair,
she will wait 20 years for you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Kevin, you have any words to say about this awkward setup for a love story?
Hey, you guys are romantic birds. You're all married. You know about romance. I know nothing.
Oh my goodness. All right. So
Kevin,
my relationships don't even last for 60 seconds. Okay. They come up and say, wow, you have a wonderful, lovely accent. And you're boring. You're a nerd. Bye.
Ladies,
Kevin,
if you're
I
looking
will
for Kevin,
you if you need me to.
No, don't, please.
ladies, if you're looking for a sexy Irishman, call Kevin. So, anyways,
I'll tell you the longitude and latitude to the Atlantic Ocean. You can just drive out there and then just wait for like 20 years.
I feel so unsure as
anyways,
they take
Steve.
Turn around.
every now and okay. We're
it's getting so weird.
I need to have the Bottom Shelf Podcast, the musical. Okay?
No, here's the problem. You have me and Branson in the same room, and when that happens, just throw the rails away because this is going to go so far off the rails. We're going to go buying.
Well, tracking down the rails, Steve Rogers is then taken in for the transformation. Which, like I said before, I thought the transformation was actually kind of cool. I appreciate it. It was a little weird. Can we talk about the fact they have all this expensive protection for everybody? Like, okay, the laser beam's gonna go here, and we have these obviously it's a metal wall to protect us from the radiation. And then Matt Salinger is like, I'm gonna stand here in front of the ray too. Like what's happening? She's
Why is getting electrocuted like Frankenstein's monster?
She's like, I'm Italian. This can't hurt me. I have years of marinara sauce in my veins. Like, these rays won't hurt me. I mean, granted, get an Italian mama mad, and nuclear blast won't stop her. But I don't feel like this was the time for that.
right.
Like it didn't make sense.
I did think that the setup for that room looked very similar to the MCU setup, but as we pointed out before, on a smaller budget.
Yeah.
But I appreciated how similar the setup was.
Can we talk about the elephant in the room? Or should I say, can we talk about the Nazi in the room?
Okay.
How did that happen?
Okay.
How did that happen? This is a special observer from.
Okay. So I can give this a pass. First off, the conversation about Nazi infiltration was not uncommon back in the 40s. Of the possibility of being people who were infiltrated the country, that were part of doing some stuff. That's not unthinkable. That said, real life story. I have a relative who, when they started the military, they were stationed stateside at a government facility, and because they scored very high on their tests because they didn't want to be on the front line. And so one day when he was off shift, he wasn't there, and he goes, I was not there for this. They had some people come in to do an inspection. Dude came in, looked official. They walked around the entire facility. They're about to walk off, and dude drops his trench coat wearing full Nazi regalia and screams out, Heil Hitler.
Oh,
Dude was tackled pretty quickly, but this actually happens.
Okay, but here's the thing, and here's my issue with the scene.
Okay.
Now, regardless of how accurate it could have been, I will say, knowing the military with as many friends as I have had in the military, and my family who's been in the military, and talking about how the military does things, there are no observers in the room. You are not in that room if you do not have a function in what's going on.
yeah.
So I'm watching this. I'm like, no, there is no special observer because of this very reason. If you do not have a reason to be there, you do not need to be there. It goes down to for eyes only clearance.
Sorry, go on.
I guess I didn't pick up on that because that's exactly what happens in the comics. There's a guy that walks in, and he's a Nazi double agent. So I knew it was going to happen.
Right.
So I guess I didn't pay a lot of attention to his role or why he's there, because I knew, according to the story, he was supposed to be there.
I would be curious to see if any of our listeners who have more experience with the military and knowledge of specifically military workings of the 40s, is this something that would have been different or not? Maybe it would have been even more, maybe it would have been even more lax. I don't know. Again, I feel like, I can see some believability behind it, but I do make Branson brings a great point. It's just the story. They're just like, all right, we gotta go with the story. Kevin, you have any thoughts on that?
No.
No. So he gets shot, and he heals apparently. Like that bullet went straight through his body.
It went through his lung. Like where it shot him, I can say as someone who's taken a couple A&P courses, it went through his lung. He should have been gurgling.
Well, he has the experiment. You don't.
I get that, but to be physiologically correct, even before his speedy healing kicked in, he should have been blowing red bubbles.
Yeah. Well, I think there again, you got to look at the fact that it's the 90s.
I know.
You know.
Oh, don't even start with that. It's the 90s.
Well, no, I mean, just there was a time
Kevin,
where
do you need a hug?
They weren't focused on how accurate it looked. They were just focused on, did it look cool? And it looks cool.
It's a comic book movie. No one cares, at least for during this time.
But you know, there's a lot of truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that. If they're making a comic book movie that is supposed to be a translation of what was in the comics, you know, I've heard from these guys that wrote these comics, they weren't worried about what was believable. They weren't worried about what made sense. They were worried about what's going to sell. They were worried about what sounded cool. They were worried about what was going to be visually stunning. And that's what they put in their movies, or that's what they put in the comic books. And if you take that story and translate it to movies, you know, I feel like that's a modern thing of questioning, well, if it happened in the real world, what would it look like? Back in the 40s, they didn't care.
Right.
It wasn't the real world. The point was escapism.
Right. Yeah. All right. Cool beans. So
I'm sorry. That scene just made me laugh.
Well, what made you laugh?
When he got the,
What made you laugh about it?
When he got the bullet shot right through, and then Nazi when he screams out "Hi Hitler" and just blasts her away and everything. I don't know. For some reason, I just thought it was so corny and silly.
It was corny. It was definitely done corny.
And what was it that deep Southern man who's like the Southern accent man's like, this man is responsible for thousands of American lives. You have to get this man healed when he's in the hospital. And he gets up for that hospital scene, and then he's like, What'd you say I gotta do?
But see that
when he said that his big experiment was proven successful, how do you know? He didn't even get off the freaking table and was like, it's successful. It's like, how do you know?
Well, he was bigger.
But see, that is such a Captain America thing, though, to be laying on a hospital bed riddled with bullets, and then he hears some soldiers somewhere are going to die, or someone's going to die, and he gets up and says, all right, where are we going? I'm ready. Let's go. That is true to the character of Captain America. That is,
yeah, that's true to the Captain America that we already know. It's just that it just felt just out of place.
It was poorly executed.
The next out of place thing was the airplane scene with him wearing the blue costume suit.
Oh,
none of you laughed at that?
Yeah.
Oh no, there were comments that were made here.
You just like see him you just see him right there getting up with the bedgown. Next thing, he's in the airplane with the Southern accent man. He's wearing the blue costume, and they're giving the longest exposition ever about his suit, his shield, and everything else. Like, yeah, don't take me through that process.
Well, again,
You've been training with a shield, right? And you have a fireproof suit. And
yeah,
I think that goes into my conversation about it feels like a made-for-TV movie. I feel like that because they would have boop, 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 and go into it and then make room for flashbacks later.
Here's the thing. It doesn't, because Marvel did made-for-TV movies back then too. I would not sully Lou Ferrigno with this movie.
You got the Incredible Hulk.
That's a different. That was Lou Ferrigno was not around the same time frame.
It was before.
Exactly,
and they were still better.
Yes. But that was movies based on a series that had already existed,
right?
Instead of setting up a pilot,
the properties were already in place, and then they made movies based off it. Think, what was that movie? Generation X. That was supposed to be a X-Men. TV series. They made a pilot, Generation X. It's on YouTube. You can watch it. I may just do a review on it for a Com Talk later, but just to revisit the trauma of my childhood. But but it's that same bip bip bip, bip and go. And that's so like because it was super quick. Kevin's right. Like it was like boom. oh, you've been training for 6 months for this mission that we told you had to hurry up and do now. And like he's jumping up. All of a sudden, he's a ranger.
Yeah.
Ranger school.
Right.
We're not going to watch that video on this podcast.
So that was a question I had. Had he received any kind of training before he got the super soldier
He
serum?
couldn't.
Because he was polio. So all of his fighting expertise that he had, he just magically had from hospital bed to the plane. And that,
Kind of explains in this movie.
So what
Kind of
kind of
explains in this movie he only had 6 months because he was so busy running away from every freaking thing.
But for real, I mean, like it was a bip bip and go, and like what is this is the problem again I have with the film is what is happening with the timing?
Yeah.
Like it's just like
It's like they were trying to hurry up and get to certain parts, and so they didn't fully pan out exactly what they should have.
I would buy that if that was the case. The problem is that this movie was so bipolar with its pacing.
yeah.
It was just like, okay, we got this exciting scene coming up, and we're going to slow down for the next 20 minutes and accomplish zero. And here's 5 minutes of action, and we're slowing down again. It was like listening to a cassette Walkman with dying batteries.
Yeah, I could see that.
Oh my gosh. So
You want to talk about the first fight with Red Skull?
yes.
Yes.
His first fight, like he goes right in there and loses. Like I thought he was supposed to be a spy, like spying in. And he's like, as soon as he lands, they shine the light on him. He's like, oh, I guess I'm spotted. My 6 months of training sucked. Goes flying his frisbee and hits everything, and then sees the Red Skull is right there waiting for him.
The plot
Beats
is
him like a wuss.
they needed a plot reason to let him use his shield to make stuff blow up. And if he's sneaking in, he's not going to use his shield.
You know, that scene actually probably could have done better with a decent soundtrack. Like if they used Send Me an Angel, not the nasty 80s synth song, but the Scorpions tune. Like him walk through the door, slow motion, get some John Woo doves behind him and fog, and then be like, here I am. Could you send me an angel? Just have him come in and the Red Skull like, ugh. That could have been framed so much better. But it's just like, I'm right here, let's fight. And the whole movie, like seriously, the procedure was supposed to make him super tough and super smart. I saw super smart only with the bad guy in this movie.
Yes.
Steve Rogers was an idiot.
And the
whole movie.
bad guy was smart to start with. They said they chose him because of his superior intelligence.
Right, but they made him even smarter.
Right.
And he felt even smarter. Steve Rogers just felt like,
Did-
phonics work for me.
I mean, was the serum supposed to make him smarter? I don't recall.
They said it.
They said that in the movie. Now, in the original comics, it was a purely physical thing. It did
Right.
not improve the mind at all. But in the movie, they said it increases his physical attributes and his
I
intelligence.
only remember them saying that about Skull. I don't remember them saying that about the Captain.
Nope.
Well, it's the same process.
Well, but different processes, similar.
Well, but she perfected the reason it made him look like a skull is because it hadn't been perfected.
Right.
By the time she got to America, she had perfected it, so one would think it would improve upon. Like he should be better than Red Skull.
True.
And said he was a lesser specimen, in my opinion.
Right.
And I think that's what Kevin was getting at, is just he walked through the door and he was like, "Arr."
Yeah. That first fight with the Red Skull was disappointing.
I mean, he got thrown all over. It was like he wasn't even a super soldier at all.
They weren't even super soldiers.
Hey, he's so super, he got superly strapped onto that freaking rocket and blasted away.
And blasted up someone's ice hole. Yeah.
And like can't even break free. Like what's happening here?
Can't break free. And then, okay, I was disappointed with the dismemberment of the Red Skull.
Right.
Like, real talk. It's like, I cut off my own hand because I can't stop myself from going through bone. and I could accept that piece of idiocy in this movie if it would have come back at some point later on. Like, say, for instance, if he was going to be... I know I'm jumping ahead to the end here, but we're in spoiler territory, so deal with
Yeah.
it. But like if at the end, like he was hanging off the edge of the castle and his daughter's holding him there by the hand and the prosthetic hand comes off and he goes falling. Like if it was going to be,
Have a payoff later
if
for
there
it.
was going to be a callback to it,
Yeah. It felt needless.
but it was dumb.
Yeah.
There was no point
Yeah.
to it other than just to say, hey, we did it. I don't know if they were
I
trying.
didn't like they made the Red Skull a sudden wuss when he cut off his hand, because I'm like, dude, you're supposed to be like a tough guy, and all of a sudden you're crying and whining for your left hand cut off. I thought like he should have just took it like a freaking samurai, just cut his
If he
hand
can cut off his own hand, why didn't he cut off Captain America's hand?
Well, he was trying to, but then Captain America pulled his hand back at the last minute.
I guess I missed that part.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, as somebody who was originally supposed to be a surgical tech, it takes more than just a knife and a swift motion to cut a hand off through your radial and ulnar bones.
This is a comic book movie. All realization, flies out the window. You can make up whatever you want.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh. So at this point, our captain is launched into from
America.
Italy to the White House
And he
Hacky
kicks that rocket.
like a hacky sack. He's like, oh, there's a kid. Whoop.
Yeah, he can't rip out of his restraints, but he can kick a missile hard enough to change the trajectory.
Yeah. And then get enough force to go to Alaska.
Oh, that was another conversation Dallas and I had when we were watching this movie. No, intercontinental ballistics, even especially back in the 1940s, that rocket would not have enough fuel to go from Italy to the Washington D.C.
Right.
and then up to Alaska. That thing would have lost fuel somewhere, probably over Pennsylvania. And
If that.
Especially
it's a comic book movie.
Kevin, you can try to throw that back at me, but I'm using your logic on this end of it.
This is a comic book movie. It's all silly and stupid.
I see where Kevin's coming from though, because like I said, this is based off of a 1940s comic.
I know.
They don't care about what's plausible or what works. They're worried about what is going to make Jack Kirby draw something really awesome. Yeah. Let's include this
is
plot
American
point.
mythology.
Yeah. I I mean, it's
But that little boy, oh my
American
God.
mythology.
How did I become the Kevin of this episode?
You want to what?
I said, how did I become the Kevin of this episode?
I don't know. I wish I can give an answer. I don't know.
Kevin's suddenly cheery.
Kevin's sticking up for this movie using my own logic against me, and I'm bashing it with the logic he usually uses.
No, I'm not sticking up for the movie. I'm just telling you, like, I already threw out believability when I saw him wear a rubber suit. I'm like, okay, it's all gone.
I feel like that
It's all
applies to a
gone.
lot of situations.
It's like, no, we're not gonna go with that
When he
anymore.
came, and they show him with that blue suit, it's like, yep, screw everything. This movie is this movie is what it is.
Right?
I'm glad they did caption everywhere they filmed it, because I would have never known this is a White House, just like I would have never known Alaska or Northern Canada or Rome or Italy, because I don't know this stuff until I see them actually put the lettering on. That helped me a lot.
To be
I
fair,
figure I'd just let you know that.
we talked about timing and where things were. They literally went from like Ohio to California in like a night. If that, maybe a 30-minute drive, it felt like.
No, they just relabeled the same place, because at one point in the beginning they said it was Ohio.
Yeah.
And then when he comes back later on, because I'm assuming we're going to do the time jump.
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
When he comes back later on, and then they say, oh, he's going to his girlfriend's house. It's in California, because they say Captain America is in California.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
What?
But he was in California from the get-go. Like he was always.
No.
No, because at the beginning of the movie, they said it was Ohio.
At the beginning of the movie,
Yeah.
the subtext said Ohio.
Rip. Are you sure?
Yes.
Yes.
I missed
Yes.
that. I missed that. I always assumed they were in
Apparently-
California.
From 1940 to 1990, Ohio moved to California.
Because of all those earthquakes, that's why.
And nobody told our friend Michael Minacci that. Michael's been living in California the high life this entire time. I don't
Hey,
know why
Mike,
he's
how's
over
your
us.
tan going? So there's that. Another thing that we caught by accident. I mean, just to give a peek behind the curtain, because I've been down here in Louisiana for a couple days now,
Right.
And Dallas and I actually we watched this movie, and we were supposed to watch it. We watched it together, and at one point Dallas got up to make some popcorn, and he paused the movie right on the frame of Iceman found alive in Alaska.
Right.
And we paused it there. But when he paused it, I was reading the rest of the article. Those articles, especially on the other articles that were on there, where it was Japan and France start space program, they had nothing to do with.
Like the articles were, it was about a murder. There was a divorce hearing. There was some child stuff going on. Like
That was
nothing.
That's a trick. They do the same thing in comic art. They'll grab copy from some random newspaper and stick it in.
It was hilarious because Dallas is in the kitchen making popcorn, and I'm like, yo, you got to come in here and look at this because this is stupid.
It was pretty wild.
That's like
You know what I would love to see in this movie?
What?
When he thawed
Talent?
from the ice. That he would just turn it. They would turn into John Carpenter's The Thing, and it's actually the thing that they thawed out.
I made this comment. I made this comment when we were watching this movie. They had the big chunk that had Captain in it. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're watching The Thing now.
Right?
And Dallas was like, what? No. And I'm like, have you never
And
seen
he
The Thing?
finally comes back to the States where Kurt Russell couldn't stop him, and he becomes the president.
Thank you. That would have been such a better movie. So anyway, he goes to California. Nazi Italian daughter chases him down in California.
Yeah. I want to rewind real
The
quick.
supermodels, not just one, all of them. Everyone from GQ magazine came to chase him down.
I want to rewind because we brought this up a little bit in your spoiler-free section. You almost went into it. The scene in Canada where he's dealing with Ned Beatty in the car.
They all find him at the perfect spot. Like everyone knew exactly where he's at.
I feel like you had issues with him in the vehicle and his response.
Yes.
See, I liked that though. I liked, or say what issues you had first.
I did like that part when he was looking. I was like, Japan, we're at war with Japan. Germany, we're at war with Germany. He's right there looking at China. It's like, this is obviously a spy who's. But then again, I guess if I was him, I was like, but maybe he's a spy in all these countries. Why would I assume that he's just buying everything else that we're at war with?
Well, all of the countries he saw were members of the Axis powers.
Yeah.
So I could that's the part that I thought, one of the parts that I thought he played the man out of time so well is he's sitting here seeing all these places that this is made in Germany, this was made in Japan, this was made in Russia or whatever, and he's like, I am seriously, this dude is pretending to be an American, but I'm in some kind of German prison camp thing.
Right. Especially when you start asking those questions, but I feel like you have a very different opinion of the scene.
I do. And again, it goes back to he's supposed to have super intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
The best he can do is, I feel sick, pull over.
Okay.
That makes anyone sick.
That I agree with.
Whereas
that was
any intelligent individual would say, okay, this is all circumstantial information that I have here. To give any credence to this individual who's telling me what he's telling me, I should talk more and try to find a flaw with what he is saying.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I go based off of my own knowledge to find credibility in a story that I am out of time, then I'm going to be only biasing my own perception. So I have to use the information that's being given to me at this moment from this individual. That's my only credible resource, and if I can find a flaw in it. But of course, the super intelligence was on par with the accuracy of the stormtroopers in Star Wars. And so as a result, we have Stuperman going, I feel sick, pull over, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, if he really thought the guy was a Nazi spy, there were ways he could have gotten out of there without feigning sickness.
Right.
He was using his standard American education system, okay?
But he was supposed to be beyond that, is the point I'm saying.
Yeah. I get that. I appreciated the context clues like what Branson said. Because, again, He's freshly thawed out. He's running around. He has no idea what's going on. He's been running in the wilderness for, well, apparently it was a quick jog from the frozen tundra to Canada.
Right.
And then context cluesing, okay, Germany, Japan, and then all of a sudden Beatty's asking these questions that would lead to too much information for any spy to have. I get that, but I can see where you're going from. Like, why didn't he? But again, that goes back to my conversation of, I don't think this was meant to be a movie. I think this is supposed to be a pilot.
I don't know. And then what also irks me is just how wasted Ned Beatty was in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was short in it. Like, there were like, what, 3 scenes with him?
Maybe that.
He had like a total runtime of like maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It just felt like they had him in the movie just to say they could that they had him in this movie.
That might have legitimately been the reason, though. Like, look, we've got this famous actor in here, because he was the only one that was really big name at the time, wasn't he?
Even still, he's a big name.
Yeah. So I would argue that might have been the point. He was in there just long enough to say, hey, he's in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
All right, so Captain makes back. This is one of my other issues I have with Captain. He did not believe he was in the future until he got to his old girlfriend's house. Mm-hmm. After he saw her old. Mm-hmm. After he's like, oh, your daughter's kind of cute. After he's traveled across the nation and seen everything here. And then he watches videotapes.
Because if it's on TV, it must be true.
Real. He's like, whoa, yeah. Everything's true.
But now I did like his reactions when he first gets back to Ohio, California. Like he's at the pier. He sees his name carved in that piece of wood that's aged. He sees the goth people on the beach asking for a cigarette, and he's like, what the heck am I looking at?
Right.
He runs by the lady in the swimsuit and is like, why are you outside dressed like that? Like, that was one of the things that I liked about it, is that he is so confused for most of that time. He's seeing things that are completely foreign to him.
Mm-hmm.
And that I liked. Like, I feel like they spent more time doing that with this version of Captain America than the MCU Captain America.
I'll give you that.
In the MCU Captain America, he's shocked and wowed on Times Square in New York, and then when you see him again, he's acclimated. He's like, okay, I'm good.
Can we talk about Dollar Store Meg Ryan?
Okay. Please bring it up.
Okay, so
but it has to be $1. None of this like 99-cent extras that chat.
Yeah, because remember, dollar store is now $1.25, so you better get this right, okay?
This is 1990. It's $1.
Yeah.
All right, continue.
I'm so confused.
It worked.
Okay, so anyway, like real talk, he makes it to Bernie's house, and he sees Bernie old. He's still the same age. Bernie's hooked up with some other guy after she told him before he left, I'll wait for you forever. Lies.
Again, we give her a pass for that.
I don't. Forever means forever.
He's like, I don't trust women when they say forever. I know what their time limit is.
And you know what? I to that I would say, and I am not a chauvinist pig when it comes to that. Like, if I was in love with a woman and that happened to me, and she was in her 60s and I was still in my 20s, I would still chase her, because you're in love with the person, not with the body.
That I can give you, because 60. She did specify, I always knew you were alive. She never really believed he was dead. So that means at some point she was thinking, he's alive, but I want kids, so I don't care. Mm-hmm. So that I will give you.
So then we have her daughter, which is Dollar Store Meg Ryan, because that's who she was designed to look like. In there and being like, with the worst acting, just like, golly gee. And Captain America the biggest dope in the movie, of course, is turned on by her brainlessness. And so he's just like, hey, your mom's taken, so you'll do. And that's how that.
Hey, I don't see a ring on that finger. What you been doing lately?
Her character's name was Sharon. Was that supposed to be a reference to Sharon Carter?
I don't know.
Was that just
I wondered the same thing, actually.
And so all I can think of is just like, she's his silver medal. Just like, you weren't my first pick, but you're good enough.
They still play those Abbott Costello movies. Let's go watch it down for a nickel and dime.
You're a genetic facsimile, so I guess I can have you in her place.
Right. Now, Branson, you're the resident comic book expert. Does Captain America get into a relationship with his love interest? 'Cause I don't think Peggy was the original name. With his love interest in the comics, his love interest is daughter in the comics.
I don't know if it was her daughter or her niece, but he does get in a love interest with Sharon Carter, aging 13.
Mm-hmm.
That they have a romance. And it continues throughout most of the comic book history. I mean, he has flings with other people. I mean, that's
he's a comic book man. He gets a relationship with everyone. He got a relationship with.
But there is an ongoing
Black Widow.
Yeah, there is an ongoing relationship with Sharon Carter. Which is one of the issues I have with MCU's version. But that's for a different story.
So this is an accurate thing. As ridiculous as it felt, the way they did it, because again, it was just so fast. It was just like, I've been frozen for 40 years, but I feel like it was yesterday. Hey, like it's just
How
like
you doing?
Like they didn't set up the romance at all, and like at the end of the movie. They're like, we're so in love, which I guess we're taking tips from Fatal Deviation, throw bullets at us, and then we fall in love. Is that what's happening here?
It's a traumatic relationship. It's like Speed? Yeah.
Now, you and me were on the same page.
Yeah, exactly. You go through a traumatic event, so you're instantly, in love for life.
Absolutely. See, that's all you need. Is that picnic basket, that blanket, a bottle of wine, and loads of fruit. And you're ready for a date.
I think we can fix the divorce pandemic within the United States.
Oh, jeez Louise.
I'm afraid.
The bottom shelf does not endorse violence towards married people.
Just change the ceremony a little bit and start. Everybody brings a 22 to the ceremony, and they have to say their vows while dodging bullets.
You took the phrase shotgun wedding a little bit too seriously.
The bottom shelf does not endorse any of the actions that John just said.
But the Dapper Man approves.
All right,
Please send
bro.
hate mail to Dapper Man.
I really feel like, and this may have been another pacing thing, but the other husband, I feel like there could have been a whole thing there about my wife's boyfriend from before my time shows up looking like he hasn't aged a day, and I see my wife swooning over her, and how does that make me feel? It's like, have y'all seen The Age of Adeline?
No.
In that movie, you've got a lady who doesn't age, and she has a fling with this guy, and they're very much in love, but then she leaves, accidentally bumps into him years later. He's, older, with his wife at the time, and his wife sees how he reacts to her and gets jealous. It's like, what's the deal? What's going on? I feel like they could have dove into that a little bit. And it was just, all he did was sit there, have a mean face, and then die later. That's all he did.
Yeah.
I think you and me are kind of tapping on the same thing here, because when I saw that scene, I didn't say nothing during the movie, but I wanted to look over at Dallas. I'm like, how cool would you be if, Celeste's ex-boyfriend showed up, you're 50, late 50s, early 60s, and he shows up and he's still in his 23-year-old body.
Right.
And you watch your wife go, ooh.
Yeah.
To be fair, Celeste's ex-boyfriend is not somebody she's a fan of.
Point of reference, though.
I got you.
I mean, it's just like, as the husband, my first reaction would be like, y'all need to get out of here.
Yeah.
There's no reason for you to be here. There's nothing here for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And instead, this guy in this movie is just like, hey, my wife's taken. Take my daughter instead.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to go sit on the chair and read my newspaper.
He pulls a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here for your wife. Well, take my daughter instead. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did they try? To me, when I watched it, seemed like they tried to set it up where Steve knew this guy. Like this was almost like a Al Simmons issue where he knew the guy.
I thought for a second that maybe he was one of the other people that were in the house.
Yes, that's the feeling I got when it. So that for me, it was you're back, and it's the awkwardness of like, I married your girl.
Yeah.
But we waited like to me, I again, stuff that I wish had been more cleared up and fleshed out.
Yeah.
In a TV series.
Didn't they do that in the Ultimate run of comics? Didn't Bucky in the Ultimate comics when they rebooted everything in the early 2000s? Didn't Bucky marry Peggy?
I think Bucky died in the 40s in the Ultimates.
No, he was an old man because Steve found him. He was like an ancient guy when he first thought out.
I don't remember.
I want to say, I think it was that situation.
Yeah.
It was, we both were missing you and we found a love for each other. We comforted each other and then we married each other.
You may be right.
We were pretending to marry you.
I'll have to go back and look at that. But that would have made that a better scene, I think, if it had been an old friend that married his old girlfriend. And then, a lot that could have added to that.
Totally. So he's back from outer space.
I just walked in to see that sad look on your face. I should have changed that stupid lock. I should have thrown away the key. If I had ever known that you would be back here again for me. So go on, go out the door. Sorry.
That's right. So he's back.
I don't know the words Red sing with you. I'm sorry.
So what did we think of casual President Bush?
I thought that was Jimmy Carter, but yeah, we can go.
Yeah,
Bush.
he looked a lot like Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, he kind of did.
Real talk there.
But like, I'm sitting there going, like, you guys know me. I'm a very casual individual. Like at my church, I wear jeans and a t-shirt because I can. I'll dress up if I need to, but I can, and so I do. I'm going, why is the president wearing jeans and boots? And
I think I can speak to that
because he's an all-American president. Okay,
I think that's the point, though, is when we see him as a kid, he is so excited about being in Washington D.C. that he can't sleep, and he sneaks out to take pictures of the White House. When we first see him as the president, he's giving his speech on, I'm about to make decisions that a lot of people aren't going to like, but I'm going to make them anyway because it's the right thing.
right.
He has that conversation with the general, and he says, "Hey, if you're here to make a deal, go buy a used car." They were painting him up as the all-American president, and what's more all-American than wearing jeans?
Right.
I mean, seriously, he didn't even have a tie on. I think that was the idea, is they were painting him as not the aristocrat, not as the politician, the no-nonsense, we're going to do this because it's right. That they wanted a president that people would actually like because he's going to be teaming up with Captain America. And so they wanted someone.
I think he told him to go buy a used car because that's all people could afford today. It's like he's predicting the future.
You can't afford a used car anymore.
We walking.
So what the aspect of the president, though, that whole kidnap the president and move on, that all felt really rushed to me. And like,
Honestly, there was no thought process behind it.
I think
the whole I'm the president now, save the environment policy, kidnap him and put a mind control implant into him. It all just felt like a MacGuffin to get to the end.
right.
Really.
You know what that whole thing reminded me of? If you took out a Star Spangled costume and replaced that outfit with a tuxedo,
James Bond.
It felt very James Bondish.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
I can see that. So, well, let's jump towards the end because again, we've talked about the weird time jumps and now they're in Italy and they're fighting the Red Skull, who now has flesh, which that must have been some amazing plastic surgery to put flesh on bone.
He crossed over to Sam Raimi's Dark Man.
Thank you for that reference.
Yeah.
Nobody
They
knows what
couldn't
Dark
find
Knight
Bruce
is.
Campbell.
Was it plastic surgery or was it makeup?
It was plastic surgery.
Yeah, he said he
He
had
said he
plastic.
had extensive plastic surgery. You also noticed that his irises were a normal color.
Oh, right,
well.
right, yeah.
Extensive. So, but even still, I'm like, I feel like you could have filled in the cracks a little bit. I mean, there's some caulking glue in the back. We just fill that in.
Yeah.
Smooth out that face. I feel like his face was smoother when it was poofy.
Even still, to be perfectly honest, I think that when they gave him the more human look later on in the movie, I think it sold the evil
It did.
a lot
Yes.
more than like say for instance, I'm gonna reference another movie here. How did any of you guys see Punisher Warzone?
Yes.
I missed that one.
Kevin, did you see it?
What? Warzone? No.
The big bad at the end of that was I don't know if you guys are familiar with this villain, but Jigsaw.
Yes.
And the way he did the makeup in this movie was so ridiculous, I couldn't take him seriously. And I think if I was looking at that red makeup, that red skull mask the entire time of this movie, I wouldn't be able to take Red Skull seriously. He felt more evil to me with the more human look, and it sold so much better, especially with that. I mean, that guy was a phenomenal actor for that part. He was the best person for that part. And honestly, I think he probably could have done a better job in the Chris Evans movie than Agent Smith.
Hugo Weaving.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You can't even pronounce a man's name or something.
I don't know his name to pronounce it. Because honestly, I don't care. I know him as Agent Smith and that guy from Rivendell.
V for Vendetta.
He wasn't in V for
He did
Vendetta.
Three Musketeers.
Yes, he was.
Didn't
He was in.
Agent
Who was
Smith.
he?
He was
done
V.
Loads.
He was he was the main character.
Oh, seriously?
He was V.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, I missed that.
I didn't watch V for Vendetta, so I couldn't.
Yeah, I forgot. You don't like good movies.
So we're talking about this movie right here, and
Cut you.
so the wrap up. Let's bring this down to a close. The final fight scene. This is supposed to be the grand finale, the final fight between Captain America
It's the final countdown.
and the Red Skull. What did we think about it? I mean, were we all just on the edge of our seats?
No.
No.
Throwing back popcorn, excited and screaming, "Yes, America!"
It felt like it just deflated.
I got interrupted in the middle of that scene by a phone call.
Yeah, you did.
I was on the edge of my seat taking a nap.
I just, for one thing, I feel like they could have developed the whole, like throughout the whole movie, they're trying to figure out the Red Skull's real name. And when they finally figure it out, and they have this recording of what happened to him when he was a kid.
How did that thing work perfectly? Like it was like a clean
No
recording.
dust. Yeah.
Like
Perfect.
This thing, it's a tape from 1940.
That survived a building falling on it.
I got a VHSs that sound like trash right now, and this guy, he's like, it's like high definition.
Because they needed to be able to hear it, to recognize it, to play it, so that he will recognize it.
Wait.
For reasons unknown.
I'm going to save Kevin the effort. It's the 1990s. You know, it was beyond. It's American mythology.
It's a comic book movie.
Yeah. That's how I was able to play his music blast loud with a 3-inch speaker.
Oh,
Because John Cusack wasn't around to play it.
and you want to talk about music? Can we talk about Dollar Store Bob Seger in this movie?
That was Randy Newman. What are you talking about?
No. I'm talking about throughout this movie, they kept playing that one song by Ivan What's-His-Face.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
The Randy Newman song. He's like, I saw thing and I play the piano. What could I see? A truck.
no, he would, like Dallas will testify. Every time they started playing that song on this movie, I started singing Against the Wind.
Every time.
And it worked.
Against the Wind is a great song. How
We were
dare you
running
compare Against the Wind?
It made the movie
this.
better.
Rubbish.
We were running against the wind.
John singing made it better. In fact, I want to advocate for a live viewing of this movie and John just redo the entire soundtrack.
That would be fun.
I can guarantee you there would be a Scorpion song in that first scene that Captain American shows up.
So we're all pretty underwhelmed with the final fight.
Yes.
But the scenery was fantastic.
It was a beautiful scenery. I thought artistically things were laid out nicely.
My biggest issue with that final fight is through the whole entire fight, throughout the castle, before they get to the top, Red Skull's just shooting machine gun at him. He's putting up his shield and running into the fire, trying to catch up with him.
Not just that, running away with bullets at his back with his shield in front.
Right.
Can we talk about that scene? Do you guys remember this? He's running with the president.
Mm-hmm.
President's in front of him. He has his shield up in front of his face, and the gunshots are coming from behind him. What is he doing?
He's looking cool.
Like, he's not protecting the president, which is his job.
Right.
He's not
Protecting himself.
He's just like running against the wind.
Yeah, I didn't understand why the president led the way if he's the guy with the shield.
Right.
I mean,
I would get it if the shield was on the back. Like, he's like, I'm keeping you safe, Mr. President.
Right.
You know, Secret Service style. No, they're like, let's go for a jog, guys.
So
Captain America was Captain Wuss in this movie. What are you talking about?
you're not kidding. But getting back to the point I was making, though.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. He's running throughout this castle after Red Skull into direct fire from him. Then Red Skull gets out on top of the castle, turns around, and starts shooting the machine gun at him when he's at the doorway, and suddenly he's afraid to go out.
Yeah.
And can we talk about the limitless amount of bullets that the Red Skull has?
right.
I mean,
Once again, comic book movie.
the NRA's angry at clips today. What about in 1990? What was happening then?
It's like, okay, so everybody knows IDM for a Dungeons and Dragons podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like he had clips of holding. Is what it was. That's all it was. It was just he had the clip of holding, and he slapped that in there, and he's good to go for ages. I don't know. I'm offended by the gun usage at the end of this movie.
Have we had a movie where you're not offended by the gun usage?
Not yet.
Okay.
I don't get offended by gun things in movies because I know it's all fake anyway. So just like everything else in this movie.
I will say
You know what I tell you? The president and the girl was much more of a Captain America than Captain America was.
Just in their bravery?
They actually fought back. They got captured, but they were fighting back while Captain America's like, oh, got to run away from this situation.
They both have this whole let's do it whatever we can for Captain America, just for Captain America to kind of mess it up.
Yeah, he's like, run away.
He was running away more than O.J. Simpson's for the police.
Wait. His outfit was red, white, and blue. Maybe he was in the wrong movie. Maybe this was Captain France.
Oh my god!
Go to action!
No,
We
it was Captain Puerto
surrender!
Rico.
All right, I want to wrap this up with a conversation about the ending scene. That beautiful shot where he turns around and it's just like this picturesque, like staring into the wind with his costume, because his costume makes him look cross-eyed
Yeah.
the entire time. So it's like, I'm victorious.
I'm happy.
It was
After he decapitates that girl. Heads up!
Heads up!
that was terrible, man. Oh my gosh. All right.
Because I was thinking like, he decapitated her. They didn't show blood or anything else, but you knew exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. Any final spoiler-filled thoughts before we continue on with the podcast?
This movie was not made for children. It says in the VHS for children. Exciting adventure for children of all ages. Like, yeah, bull crap.
Well, here's the thing. This movie was not made for children who would have appreciated a Captain America movie. And it definitely was not made for adults who would have needed something a little bit more, just something more than what was provided in this movie. So, I mean, really, this movie was made for nobody.
All right. Well,
It was made for people who's trying to escape from someone for like a good 95 minutes or something.
right.
And the thing about it is, I saw that, like I said, I saw this when I was 9, and I really enjoyed it as a 9-year-old. So maybe you have to be at an age where reality doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into our final rating. What do we guys think individually? Branson, can you define our rating system for people?
Absolutely. All right. Here on the bottom shelf, we have a rating system to classify our movies. First, we have the top shelf. Top shelf ratings are movies that we have no clue why they're rated poorly. We think they're wonderful, and we think everyone should watch them. Then we have the middle shelf. Middle shelf means we kind of see why maybe the critics didn't like it, but it's not as bad as people remember. And you should have this to watch every once in a while just for a laugh or just to remember, or if you're feeling nostalgic. It's not great, but it's not as bad as it could be. Bottom shelf is, yep, this is as bad as the critics said it was. It's absolutely bad. The only people that watch this are either want to see what not to do, or it's some kind of cult following thing where they check their brains at the door. And then at the very bottom, we have the dumpster fire. The dumpster fire is reserved for movies who no human being should ever have to see, ever.
Dark Star, I'm looking at you.
You shut your mouth.
Excuse me.
Good thing Dark Star, everyone died at the end.
I still like Dark Star. Thank you very much.
You're welcome to have it. All right, well, let's jump into our ratings. We're going to start over here with Mr. Kevin. So, what are your words, man?
Words.
Okay, so Kevin said words. So Kevin has voted top shelf. I'm going to make sure to put that on social media. So Kevin, what's your rating, bud?
This movie, I want to throw in the fire so freaking bad.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was bored and it was lame, it was dumb, but it had some value to it. But
what was the value to it?
The value to it was crap. Now I'm forgetting. Maybe I should throw in the fire.
Maybe there wasn't that much value.
Yeah. Only value I could think from it was them starting off with a superhero movie, like they're trying, even though DC was succeeding at these movies before they switched around.
That is true.
Because it's like when you start off, DC was doing great. The only thing Marvel had going for it at the time was Incredible Hulk. I'm trying to think. Even the Incredible Hulk television movies were doing better than others. The only thing, and you look at DC. DC had the Batman, then it had Wonder Woman.
They had Superman.
And Superman, which did phenomenal for the first two films, and people still.
Superman had fallen off by that point, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it hit Richard Pryor, then it started falling off.
Yeah.
It's pretty much like Richard Pryor falling to a wheelchair.
That might be on another episode of the bottom shelf later.
Yeah, and people were going after Swamp Thing, even though they keep screwing up Swamp Thing too.
They do.
Yeah.
So where are you putting this, man? Because now you got me guessing. I'm not sure where you're going with this now.
Crap, I'm trying to decide. I really haven't decided, and that was the bad thing because I was trying to debate. Want to throw in the fire or just put in the bottom shelf? It's like right between. It's like
I tell you,
it's one or the other.
You marinate on that. We'll go around the table and we'll come back to you. I'm going to do mine, and I'm going to say this film is a bottom shelf film. It is a bad film. I will pull it out to laugh at it and to have some nostalgic memories. I own it somewhere in my house, but it's definitely not one I'm like, oh my gosh, we've got to watch this. It was low production. If they tell me it was meant to be a TV pilot, I'm all about it. But it's just not. And I try, you guys know me, I try to give a lot of allowances for the 90s and for stuff like that. This is the type of movie I want for the bottom shelf. As far as the show, these are like when I think about bottom shelf films, these are the type of films I think about. And this is a bottom shelf film. Like I feel like this is the poster child for bottom shelf, in my opinion. So, Mr. Haryu.
Yeah. Okay. I walked into this movie with a lot of nostalgia for the first time that I saw it. You know, I can remember where I was when I saw it. If I close my eyes, I can still smell the smells and feel like I'm in that room again. And, you know, the excitement that was behind it. That said, it didn't live up to my expectations.
Yeah.
This time around. but if I've learned anything from doing this show, it's that going in with the expectations, but then revisiting it with a blank slate, I'm always going to end up coming back with a different experience. That said, I didn't hate this movie enough to purge it from existence. And I started asking myself, I didn't hate this movie. There were parts I enjoyed. I really enjoyed the villain in this movie. Would I show that? And I had to ask myself, would I show this to anybody, or would it just sit in my collection? And if the right person came along that was into comic book movies, or that was into comic books, who was not aware of this movie, the first thing I would do is pull it out and say, hey, have you seen this old movie?
That's a good point.
It's hard to find. Because I would do that, because there would be a mutual interest there. And I believe that watching this movie with somebody who has that interest, who will be able to either enjoy it based off of that interest, or enjoy it in a way where you're finding the inaccuracies or the stupidity of it. That's just like, that's not how it should have been.
Right.
Cause there's still an amount of enjoyment you can find in doing that, in much in the same way that you watch a movie like Plan 9 from Outer Space. I would have to put it on the middle shelf.
You're making a great point there. And I wasn't thinking about it from the idea of bringing Branson's over here telegraphing us. Branson is already lighting the barbecue for some reason, and so
I'm happy. I'm just happy. I'm just so happy.
The idea of bringing somebody over, if it's somebody who's a comic book, I got it because I am a comic book fan. Because it is his. I'm trying to discern myself if I got it because more nostalgia reasons or not, because I get those kind of films. I don't know. I may change my mind here in a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. Branson. So
All
bottom
right.
shelf. Cool. So Kevin.
No. Back that up.
Now, before you do this,
Yes.
I want you to ponder your ideas also of Venom.
Yes. No, actually, I gave a lot of thought to that
Right.
walking into this, because I like I said at the beginning of the show, I feel like I gave Venom an unfair shake. Because I wanted to see Spider-Man, and they didn't deliver on Spider-Man, and so it colored my entire view of that movie.
Right.
So I purposefully tried to suspend what I know about Captain America as a comic book character going into it, and not play comparisons, to just see it for what it was. It is not a perfect movie. It is not a movie that is good for the sake of being a good movie. Sometimes superhero movies, or I know we don't like that term, sometimes movies based on comic books are good movies in and of themselves, even if you don't know they're based on a comic book.
Sure.
They're just good on their own right. This is not one of those movies.
Right. Which I didn't put this out there. When I first saw this movie, I had no premise of Captain America as a child. This was my first exposure to Captain America.
See, I had checked out the original Captain America comics from my public school library because they had them in a collected edition.
Nice.
And I read them when I was in like the second grade. So
You
I
had
actually walked into this knowing about
Dude, your
Captain
school is
America.
cool.
Yeah, it was cool. They had Captain America, the Hulk, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man. I can't remember if they didn't have Avengers. They had when Captain America showed up in the Avengers. But anyhow, so that's, I walked in, first time I saw it, even in 92 when my sister was born, I already knew about Captain America. But this movie is not a good movie in its own right. But when I watch a movie, I like the escapism. I'm not sitting there trying to figure out, well, would that really work in the real world? Does that make sense? Now, obviously, if stuff's just completely off the wall, but like, does it make sense that a ballistic missile could leave Italy, almost scoot by that White House, and end up in Alaska? I didn't take the time to think about that. I surrender myself to the story. Was I entertained by this movie? Yes, I was. Were there things about this movie that I thoroughly enjoyed? Yes, there was. There are things that as a writer, I probably would have done differently. talking about the pacing. There are parts that I would have shortened up, parts I would have cut out altogether, and parts I would have added in that I think would have made the story more complete. Like I said before, I feel like the only thing that made this a comic book movie was the fact that the protagonist had a colorful costume. You could replace the rubber suit with a tuxedo and you'd get a very cool James Bond movie. Because the Red Skull, the way they played him up, I half expected him to have a white cat in his hand. He had that refined menace vibe.
Yeah.
I kind of prepared myself to not like it, realizing that the last time I saw it, I was 8 years old, and actually had a lot of fun watching it.
Really?
I did. I liked it a lot better than I expected to. I think this is one of those, John, like you were talking about, for people who are pure comic book fans and they enjoy playing comparisons and see how they interpret different things. I enjoy that. So I'm going to put this on the middle shelf. I think this is a middle shelf movie. I think it is something that I would keep in my collection and pull out and watch if I had the right person at my house or if I was feeling nostalgic. I think that this movie did some things maybe even better than the MCU movie,
right?
As far as plot and things like that. So I'm gonna put it on the middle shelf.
All right, cool beans. All right, Kevin, what is your final rating, my dude?
I try to think about if I was entertained. The one thing I was entertained by was the Scott Pauling, the one who played Red Skull. He was the one person that actually had me a bit entertained. But that's like, I'm trying to think, like, how else was I entertained? Nothing else really entertained me. The music sucked. The edits was complete rubbish. The storytelling was quite awful. It was rushed. Acting was bad. I mean, we review bad movies, and I try to find something that's actually fun. There wasn't really too much fun. I mean, yeah, I guess they jostled around the idea, but it's not horrible. It's not like complete, utter rubbish like to burn it, because I'm starting to think it. So I guess I'll put it on the bottom shelf.
All right.
Because it's just, I cannot find any reason why I would put it near the middle shelf, because it's just, it is pretty bad.
Right.
But I have to put it on the bottom shelf.
Oh, man. All right, Dallas.
Okay.
No, he's given his rating. We don't need to try to bully him into.
No, it's not a bullet, because you brought up some valid points that that I hadn't thought about. At the same time, I trying to rest on it on its own merits, and like I enjoyed watching it when we watched it together, and that's the thing is, I legitimately enjoy. I'm not pulling it out though for any other reason than when I'm with people. And so I'm trying to decide, does that warrant it being a middle shelf film?
I don't think so. I mean, I think, like, I would watch this movie by myself every so often. And I think Branson would be in the same boat.
Absolutely.
If the only reason why you're pulling it out is to show it to somebody else and not for your own. I think bottom shelf, and this is me going against my own rating. Like, I legit here. If you think, if I think that you rated it appropriately from your own definition,
right?
Because, would you watch it yourself? No, but if there were somebody else, maybe. That sounds like a bottom shelf to me.
Yeah.
Would I watch it? Whereas the difference between me and Branson is we would probably watch it by ourselves every so often if we're, if you're homesick from work, and Bob Barker's not on The Price is Right anymore.
All right. So, well, then I'm gonna go ahead and rate this as a bottom shelf. And so what that means is, going into the Devoted Geek Life, there will be a rating for it.
Kevin's reading the Infinity War.
There will be a poll asking the community in the Devoted Geek Life, what is their rating for this film? How do they see it? And that will be, the final rating will come up at the end of this episode. So it's disputed. Hopefully we get a good answer soon, and it won't be like last time we did this and I had to do a special episode because I forgot.
Oh, phone's ringing. Hang on. Hey, Dallas. How's it going, man? Yeah, I've just been on the bottom shelf's page refreshing for like the last hour, waiting for the final rating post. What? You forgot. But you promised you weren't gonna this time. Hey, no worries, man. It's all good. So next week, there's going to be a special broadcast with the actual final rating of Captain America. And you're serious this time. Sounds good. Then I'll tune into the bottom shelf next week and keep my eye out for that. Don't leave me hanging again, though.
So
I swear to everything that I breathe on, I'm going to lose my mind if we do another freaking episode on this Monday.
That's funny. All right, let's jump. We're going to jump to our next section. So we're going to play our Week Connection bumper that John loves so much.
Come on, Matt.
This is a Week Connection.
All right, welcome to the Week Connection portion of the show where we try to bring some redemption to some films that sometimes we feel like are unredeemable, and bring a weak connection of encouragement and inspiration, and pointing people back to some hope. And so I got a weak connection. Do you guys have one? Any of you guys?
Yes, I do actually.
I do not.
Okay, Kevin, you got one? No. Okay, Branson.
All right, my weak connection. One of the things I appreciated about this movie is that it has good old-fashioned American patriotism. It was made back in the day where it was cool, it was supported, it was looked on with a positive light to be, you know, red, white, and blue, pro-America, and not just in the World War II bits. We talked about the president and how he was the all-American president. He was making decisions because they were the right thing to do, and he was, you know, wearing his jeans in the Oval Office, that kind of thing.
Right.
It was very, very uplift, feel good, yay America type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that reminds me of the Bible verse, and the reference escapes me at the moment. Forgive me, but it's the verse that says, whatever is good, whatever is pure, whatever is holy, whatever is beneficial, think on these things.
Sure.
And what I liked about this movie is that the villains were very much a cynical, world's going apart anyway, we're going to keep it the way we like it, kill people off, keep people in misery because we benefit from it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Captain America and this president who believe in ideals,
Right.
believe in good for good's sake, you know, and that was celebrated in this movie. And I feel like as a follower of Christ, of course, you know, we always want to be realistic.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to have a pie in the sky, head up in the clouds. I'm not looking at the real world, and the real world is terrible. It really is.
Right.
At the same time, because of our faith in Christ, because we have hope in Christ, we have the ability to be optimistic.
Word.
We can be idealistic because we believe in a God who created the ideal world.
Right.
We messed it up, but it was there. We believe in a God who will one day take us to an ideal place, that being heaven.
Word.
So for people who follow Christ, we are like Captain America and President Kimball, was that his name? President Kimball, who have this idealistic view of the world. The world can be better. The world should be better. And we're going to take steps to make it better.
Right.
And that's my weak connection, is we should draw that positive outlook, that idealistic view, and recognize that if we truly believe in a God who is good, then these are the things we should focus on. These are the things we should think about.
It's good. I like it. So for me, I was caught up some along the lines, but the whole inspiration thing. You see Cap whenever he hacky sacks the rocket from hitting the little kid. That stuck with the kid, and it stirred something up. Now the kid already had some patriotism. He always had something to it, but that stirred something. I was like, this is a thing, and it inspired him to years later. And in fact, there was this joy of just rolled out of him when he finally got to see Captain America. And simple act. Cap didn't have to do that. He's strapped to a rocket. It could be like, kid's dead. Sorry. Hate that for you. I can't break the rope, and I can't hacky sack the rocket. He could have done that. But he didn't. He was intentional about helping this kid out. And throughout the entire thing, he's trying to be intentional to inspire people. Captain America is meant to inspire America. That's what he was to begin with, was an inspiration. And my connection versus I think it's James. I don't have it pulled up, but it's the let us stir up each other to love and to good works. This is an essential aspect to the Christian walk, to our life, and the kind of the vocabulary there. It's not just a matter of stirring each other. It's like intentional. Let's be intentional about encouraging each other, intentional about stirring us up to love, to loving each other, to love other people, to when we see somebody that's down, to go, hey, let me encourage you in this moment, but also to do works, to do good works, to, hey, what are you doing, man? What you got going on here? We recently, Kevin drove out of his way. He was going to see some friends, and he went out of his way to go help an aunt who just needed to put some stuff together. And that's great. That inspired me, seeing that Kevin had done that. And you guys do different things. You help your community, you help your family and stuff like that. That's inspiring me to go, I should go out and do stuff. And we need to be intentional about doing it. Now, there's a whole thing about people like, let me post a picture of me doing something good. We're not talking about doing that. If it happens, It happens. But we need to be intentional about and stirring each other up, because we don't know the lasting impact. Something small can last for decades. And the movie, Cap's willingness to save this kid's life led out to be apparently one of the greatest presidents they had in this universe. And what can our being intentional, just take 5 minutes to encourage somebody and inspire them, how can that change the future? So that's my week connection. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's a wrap. At the end of the credits here in a second, you're going to hear the final rating of the show. So let's wrap things up. Branson, how can people find you?
They can find me occasionally on Com Talk, where I have a podcast called Bees, Use, and Reviews, where I review faith-based, family-friendly comics, and I promote the creators that make them. If you have a faith-based, family-friendly comic that you would like for me to review, you can send that info to branson.boykin@gmail.com, or you can message us through all the Geek Devotion social media. I'm there all the time, too.
Sweet. Mr. How are you? Pick one.
Didn't you have a Bible devotion, John? Didn't you have a weak connection?
No.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't. I thought they were just skipping over you. It's like, okay.
No.
I know I skip over you, but doesn't mean they should.
Nope. They can find me. Oh, what haven't I touched on recently?
I just keep waiting for Kevin to start singing Mezzanine.
Supersonic Pod Comics. I play Nick Foster in The Randoms. Look at the Supersonic feed soon, as The Randoms have episode 5 coming up quickly.
Let's go.
All right.
Let's go. I just thought of this. Kevin, do you keep singing Mezzanine because you're auditioning for John's band? Is that why you keep singing his band name? Are you one to be...
I'm very sure he doesn't understand the reference I'm doing. But
are you going to be a background singer for him?
There was a song I listened to, and it was called Glycerine, so I just put Mezzanine with Glycerine. It's like, Mezzanine.
Kevin, how can people find you, bud?
You could find me if you come to Jacksonville, Florida. If you don't, then you won't find me.
Well, dang. Okay. It's now a game.
If you want to find me on the internet, if you wish to, and if you desire to, you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, and Facebook. I'm only 25 followers away from a full 1,000. No, I'm 75 at this moment away from a full 1,000. So
come on, man.
Hey, everything helps just to put my name out there.
And what do they have to look for to find you on those platforms?
If they wish to find me, just type in the Dapper Man Reviews, and you will find me there.
Awesome. Where you post up all kinds of memes because you are the meme lord.
Yes.
And also your fantastic movie reviews that I may or may not agree with some of them. I agree with a lot of them, except for Morbius, but that's another conversation.
Morbius is a movie that sucked.
It was fantastic. It wasn't fantastic. It was a good movie. It was okay. Yeah. It was an okay movie. Next time on the bottom shelf. No.
Well, next review, by the time they see this, it would be Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And what's the other one? Crud. I forgot what it's called.
I haven't seen Crud.
That'll be up too.
Dallas.
Yeah, I've seen loads of Crud.
Dallas, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Well, if you're not listening to this podcast, then you obviously don't know Dallas.
So you can find me just geekdevotions.com, where you find links to all of our social media platforms for Geek Devotions, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We put out weekly devotionals on YouTube, on the Geek Devotions YouTube channel, based on geek culture, which currently, as of filming this, we're in the middle of Anime April, where all of our devotions are based on animes. We just had one that's coming out as of recording this. The following episode is going to be about Rating of Kings, which was really fun. Wasn't expecting it to have the emotional feels to it. We've done Rurouni Kenshin. We've done what did I do last week? Demon Slayer. I think we might be doing Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm not sure. It just depends. But yeah, all the anime.
I also want to put a little plug. The person that did the art for the Anime April Geek Devotions logo,
yes,
is the artist for Bun Bear Believes in You. It is a children's book / graphic novel that I will be reviewing on a future episode of Bees Views and Reviews. So
heck yes,
definitely check her out. We appreciate her doing the artwork for that.
Right. And while we're doing shout outs, I also want to give a special thank you to Nathan James Norman of a fantastic podcast that's not been told, the Untold podcast. He did our theme song, and fantastic job. Appreciate you.
He did the VO for the theme song.
He did the VO, yes.
I did the theme song.
You did the theme song, but he did the voiceover work for us, so we appreciated that. He kind of reworked it for us. And so, all that being said, follow The Bottom Shelf on Instagram and Facebook. Just look for The Bottom Shelf. Pop up pretty easily. Not sure if we're on Google yet. We're working through it. Dave is working his magic as best he can. He's over there at Blueberry. But, hey, until next time, have a great day.
Hey, Branson.
Yeah.
You want to see my motorcycle and my gun collection?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What?